Sit down. It is getting cold in here. We have not turned our heat on. And right now it is 59. It'll be like probably 3 minutes. Can we put a pause on the piano for a little bit, please? Yesterday, that vlog was crazy. If you haven't seen it yet, maybe you shouldn't watch it.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I don't know if people can handle it.
Then they can unsubscribe.
You know what? I'm not going to tell you how to watch YouTube. You watch whatever the heck you want. Yesterday, one of the things that was on our hearts, but we didn't address it because of the nature, we already had this vlog in motion, was Trump won the election. When I found out about it, I was just like emotionally devastated. I mean, that's a strong word. I wasn't devastated, but I was just like, oh, I feel like I got kicked in the stomach. But I don't think it's because of me. Like, I actually see our life changing very little. We might pay more money, we might pay less money in taxes. It's not like I saw America on this like upward thing and now Trump is taking it on this downward thing. Like, we don't see history or politics that way. The thing that I like about Trump being elected is I feel like it's the most accurate picture of where our country is actually already at and been at for a long time. Mm-hmm. People make decisions about business all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, we might not like when it bleeds into government in a certain way, but if 90% of our lives are motivated by money and then we end up with the guy who's predominantly motivated by money, I don't think we should be saying, how the hell did this happen? Like, it's a natural cause. It's a result. And I think the fastest way for America to get healing, if we're going to call it that, not that that's my goal, but is for us to face that reality. And maybe Trump will help us face it. Sometimes the best way out is harder. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. I sound like a Lord of the Rings novel right now. But we want for our country the same thing that we want for ourselves, which is reality we think is better than fiction, even if fiction is more fun in the short term. So if this is what America wants, in a way, I want America to have it because I think it's the quickest way for us to see where we're at. But another reminder, you know, we actually didn't vote, and I don't know who I would have voted for. And I don't have any complaints about, you know, we might feel bad if Hillary was president too, I don't know. But I saw people rise up and feel empowered. You know, there's so much of this talk like, you make a difference, you can do it, you get out and vote. And I think most of that's a crock. I don't think most of us do make a difference in this. That's just my personal opinion. But there are areas where we for sure do. And what I would love to see is for people to take 1/10 of that energy that surrounded the election and vote for your freaking family today. We can make decisions about our schedule, about loving our spouses, about forgiving people that have wronged us, about choosing different paths and setting goals, even for a summer vacation, whatever. Like, I would like to see 1/10 of that energy directed towards things that you can make a difference. You know, it's like, yeah, politics is over. You know, let's not wait another 4 or 8 years to get excited about something. That's why we're going to keep on doing the work of pumping out a vlog every day, and we're not stopping everything for the election because in our lives, it's not the biggest factor. Mm-hmm. We're going to pursue love and peace no matter if it's communist government, oppressive towards Christians or half Asians or tattooed people, Whether we pay 80% taxes or 0 taxes, it's still going to be hard.
I'm gonna start teaching the kids how to write. And this has been a hard thing for me because I think I have felt like I don't know how to teach them. I'm not qualified to teach them. I need a whole curriculum to teach them. But I finally came to the conclusion that I'm just gonna teach them with what I have. And what I have is this book that, let's see. I think it's a cool book on creative writing. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm just gonna try. And I just think that that's enough. The first lesson is titled Details, Character, and Setting. The first thing we're gonna do is the power of observation. I want you to draw a small handgun.
Handgun? I'll do it.
What? Like a revolver. Do you know what a revolver is? The kids are learning how to draw from memory and then how to draw from actually observing something. So they had to draw from memory a revolver handgun, and then I brought out an actual revolver handgun, and now they're drawing it from observation, from looking at it. Don't worry, it's not loaded.
Then I'm making that gun. I'm making that gun.
Let's look at the difference between the gun from memory and the gun from actually observing and looking at a gun.
Here is my original from my memory.
Yeah.
And here is what I saw.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Right.
This is Filia's.
This is my gun because this is their gun.
So that's from memory and from memory and from observing. This is Dove's. You see the difference? And then Eden, can I see yours?
No, this is the memory one. This was.
Great job, you guys. You guys did really good.
It is time for Q&A.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Today is a special Q&A where we're going to be talking about our last Financial Friday. And at that Financial Friday, I went over all of our monthly income and expenses. But one huge mistake I made was that I added up the numbers wrong. 2,050 plus 1,000 and 151 is not 2201, it is 3201. An annual income of 38,000. I'm really sorry about that. That was not intentional, and I was kind of just on autopilot. But the point still stands that this number needs to be greater than this number. You know how I found out about this? My dad actually came over and told me. He was like, "Is it too late? Did that video get published?" And I was like, "Yep, that was like 2 days ago."
Ben's never been very good at the details.
Yeah, so $1,000, $12,000. Sorry. Sarah on Facebook says, "Thanks for being so transparent about another very difficult topic. What are your thoughts about tithing and/or giving to charity?" Tithing is the idea of giving 10% to a church. Typically, is how I've heard that used. Most of our marriage, we haven't done this. That didn't seem like a very good investment for us. And I actually feel that way about most charities too. I think most people just give to feel good about themselves. And a lot of these charities are not really being accounted for in how they're producing results. That's a generalization, of course. But recently, I've had more of a conviction that instead of focusing on exactly where the money's going and every little thing that it's doing, we want to give because we want to be detached from the money and give to God what is God's. So we're not going to talk about specifics, but before our money even gets to our pockets, 10% of it we set aside into a special fund that we decide where that goes, and it's essentially giving it away.
Annie asks,
Hi, Annie.
how do you decide on where you spend extra money or maybe fun money? Example, maybe going out to get a latte versus drinking coffee at home. This has been something that Ben and I have always tried to be on the same page with. I think we've been fairly laxed about we can have fun. That's okay. That's totally okay. But if you're in debt, we believe that that should be the most important thing to tackle.
Annie also asks, what area of your spending would you consider to be the most important? I don't think there's one area. I think every dollar that we spend is important, not just with where it goes, but how we think through it. Once again, I think the most important thing is that we're on the same page with how we spend our money.
Katie3 asks, how much do you have to put aside to get 6 kids Christmas and birthday gifts?
P.S. Love you guys. Thank you.
We've been all over the map from not giving any gifts to giving as much as $1,000 for all 5 kids.
Total. I think this year we're going to go pretty minimal on Christmas. I could see us spending in the realm of $300, but it's nice to know for us that that's always optional. Our kids know that we love them, and we know that we love them, whether we get gifts or not.
We don't feel obligated to have to get our kids birthday or Christmas gifts.
Gree Relax asks, how did you get in the business of buying and renting properties? Has it proved to be profitable? If so, did it take several years? It took a lot of years. I'm probably on year 10 or 15, and it has cost me millions of dollars. I know I've lost at least $1 million, I think more, in mistakes that I've made. I did it just one property at a time. Does it prove to be profitable? Not the way we do it. We don't do it for profit, at least compared to other ways that we could be making money with the money we have. We do it for other reasons. We think properties are a great way to learn, to love people, to connect with people, and to invest into a geographical location.
Ariana asks, Cami, I think I remember hearing you have a nursing degree. As far as extra income, do you plan on returning to work at any point in time? I do have a nursing degree. It's not active. I worked for 12 days total.
It was a very expensive nursing degree.
And I don't plan on going to work at this point, going back to work.
That means she worked as a nurse for 12 days in her entire life
Yeah.
for the cost of that nursing degree. OMG Meg says, what values or ideas about money, if any, were taught to you by your parents, and have they changed? If so, how? We were definitely taught about money by our parents, and that's actually the topic of the whole book that I'm writing now. And I would say it's not even just by my parents or her parents, it's really by kind of the culture that we grew up in. There was a certain belief system, and a lot of this was taught by kind of what was said and what was not said. But I'm not going to get into specifics right now, but I'm writing like a whole book on that very topic right now because I think it's so important. Thanks for asking that.
Heidini asks, how do you plan for unexpected expenses like appliances or cars going bust at the most inconvenient times when you need them the most? There's very few things that if they went bust, we would really need to pour money into them. Medical might be one of the only things, maybe if our house burned down, but even then we could move in with someone. Most things like appliances and cars, I think we would just have to go without for a time till we could actually afford it again.
We have savings, but if we didn't have savings, I think something happening would be a great opportunity for us to say, we don't have the right to that thing, let's not use it. Tonisa 21 says, was there ever a time y'all were in debt? If so, how did you get out of it and how quickly? Yes, we were in a ton of debt, mostly related to mortgages, which some people classified as good debt or smart debt. I think it's better than just consumer and credit card debt because you have an asset to back it, your house. But even now, we have made a decision if anything is within our power to stay out of debt completely. It took us a long time to get out of it, and it was more of a mental difficulty than an actual practical difficulty for us at the time, which I don't think is even easier.
I think it took 12 years to get out of debt.
The way we did it, honestly, is we decided that our top priority was gonna be paying off debt instead of buying new stuff. That is true whether you're a millionaire, it's just as hard, or whether you have $100 to your name and $60,000 in debt. We all have to make that very simple but very difficult choice. But you have to reverse the trend, whether the debt's getting bigger or the debt's getting smaller, and there's only one way to do that.
Carly Rosie asks, do you share openly with your kids about your finances? Yes. How do you teach them about handling money? Every week we have them read our what we call allowance manifesto, and it's just what we believe about money, and we give them an allowance.
And that allowance, we see it as a way for them to learn and practice our values, and just as importantly, to make mistakes. So we talk through those decisions, what we consider the good ones and the bad ones with them. But that's the whole reason why allowance exists for us. It's an educational tool. Whew, okay, that was a lot. It's really hard because I'm always pushing Cami, like, Cami, you gotta answer the questions quick. But it's not just because I wanna rush here, it's actually because we wanna get to as many questions as possible, and it's really hard. Those are a lot of great questions. We really care about this topic and hope that this is helping you guys. Some of the questions we didn't quite get to or talk about because we're going to be talking about different topics in different months. This next month, we're going to be talking about like assets and liabilities. We just finished running 4 miles. It was 61 degrees. Which could be one of our last runs with no shirt. It's like warm, but the concrete is cold. It's like right on the edge of just getting super cold, you know? I'm really hungry right now. Cami? I think everyone left. We're going to dinner at my parents' house after a nice hot shower. I heard my mother is making clam chowder tonight. That is super exciting. My mom's clam chowder is really good. Mother?
Yes, dear.
Is it true?
Is it true that we are what?
Clam chowder?
Yes, clam chowder.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, that was so good. I am so full right now.
Okay, you need to be fine every time you say that.
Okay.
That was like Thanksgiving dinner. Kenny made cornbread and honey butter. Oh. Thank you to everyone that asked questions about this very personal topic about money. We hope that this helped with understanding how we think, but also just getting shame and secrecy away from this topic of money. If you want to ask questions in the future for Q&A, you have to follow us on Facebook or Instagram. That's where we post the notifications. Also, we're asking a favor of you guys. We don't share our videos or promote or do any marketing at all. So if you watch these videos and if you think that someone else might benefit, our request is that you would share these videos with those specific people. You don't need to clutter up your Facebook feed or broadcast it out. But if there's someone you think it would help, pass it on. Thanks.